What's up, guys? Welcome to part 3 of my Everything Possible Before the Gargoyles playthrough. Last episode we left off, I had just dropped off all my moss to pick up 4 twinkling titanites, and I had just dropped off the skull lantern, so you saw there I picked up the ring of fog. So I'm just going to finish up the asylum while I'm here. There's a couple black knights, and obviously the stray demon to take care of. Asylum Knight, so you can get your crest shield. It's not really a long section here. It doesn't take very long to clear this out. That's assuming you don't have trouble with the stray demon. Most players probably do this section a little bit later in the game. It makes more sense to wait until you have more items to trade with Snuggly. But I really want to upgrade my halberd, and this is the quickest and easiest way to do it. Plus, since I'm just trying to get as much as I can before the gargoyles, it didn't really matter what order I did it. There are other items I could trade later down the road, and I might make one more trip back here just to trade with Snuggly. But since I was here, I figured I might as well do it now. So, picking up the crest shield here. Crest shield is really popular in both PvP and PvE. It only requires 10 strength to use, it has high magic resistance, and it also has 100% physical resistance, so it's a really popular shield, especially for the Four Kings fight. I don't usually use it. After all the challenge runs I've done, the Four Kings are one of the easier bosses. And other than that, there's really not that many places that you need to use it in the game. I'm sure it would probably be pretty good against the butterfly, but considering you can dodge most of that, that's not really required. So besides the shield, there's a few other items here that are worth definitely getting. Rusted iron ring is one of them. The chance for a couple black knight weapons. You get a couple chunks here guaranteed. Of course, it's one of the guaranteed slabs in the game. Regular titanite slabs off the Asylum demon. And of course the doll to get in the painted world. So if you can manage it, it definitely makes sense to come here a little bit early. That rusted iron ring could definitely make Blighttown easier. I don't really tend to rely on it for Blighttown or fighting the Hydra. But the one thing that it does do that I like is it makes it easier to farm slugs down in Blighttown. Going through all the slugs and dodging them and trying to make the run really quick and efficient, it definitely pays to have that ring. So now I'm going to take on the demon. There's different ways to do this. The easiest way I've found is simply to drop as close as you can to him and then roll directly towards him. Usually by the time you recover, he's already casting his AoE. That time he actually didn't do it. Usually on the sides does it. But anyway, try to get behind him as quick as you can. Some people hide behind the pillars and fight him at a distance. I just find getting behind him is probably the easiest method. This Black Knight halberd's really most likely, unless you have a weapon like this and you go to this early, you're going to be doing a little bit less damage. It's only a matter of time. It's not really hard to dodge at all. You just got to stay behind him. So I've already killed Andre, so this slab isn't going to do me good. Unless I wanted to raise my armor up to one of my pieces up to +10. But nonetheless, my goal is to show what can be done. What I probably will use is the red chunks. At some point, when I go back down to the catacombs to clear it all out, I'll probably stop by Vamos. By then, I'm pretty sure I'll have enough green titanite shards to make at least a +5 fire weapon. And however many chunks I get, I can take it either to higher than +5 fire or into chaos. I haven't got it yet, but I will be getting both the large fire ember and the chaos ember. That's probably the only weapon I'll make in this playthrough. I don't really need it. This weapon is far powerful enough to get through the game. But I think a Chaos Great Club might be fun to play with. I usually don't use the really heavy strength requiring weapons a lot. But I have messed with them before. They are fun to play with. But anyway, I finally got to upgrade my Black Knight halberd. It's a +4 now, so it's even more crazy damage than it was doing before. Go ahead and put a few more souls into Vitality finally. I mean, I've been running around with 11 Vitality up to this point. I'm sure I can probably finish out the playthrough without ever raising it up. I'm going to drop off my second Firekeeper soul now. and then I make my way into the parish. So even though I'm not going to kill the gargoyles, there's still plenty to do in the parish area. There's not really too much treasure, but there is a Black Knight. There's a dragon, well, a Hellkite dragon. I guess it's not really a dragon. Apparently it's a wyvern, but nonetheless, everyone calls it a dragon. You're going to see the express elevator here. I decided I should have done this in the last video, but it definitely makes the elevator ride a lot faster. Since I have my maximum item discovery rate, at least that I can have without any rings or the symbol of avarice, I was hoping I was going to get the Balder side sword or something, but these guys weren't cooperating. They didn't drop me anything. So you're going to notice here in this area and the Burg, these enemies just really don't do any damage. They're really only dangerous to low level. Like when you're really coming through here, the way that the game, I guess, is designed to be done. The game's not linear, but I think the designers had a path where the average person was going to run through. So when these guys hit me, it just does pitiful damage. This stone armor has just got crazy high defense, and since I'm wearing 2 pieces of it, along with the Elite Knight legs, it's just, there's so much defense on it that it nullifies almost all the damage. Now, I picked up that basement key there, and I will use it only to unlock the shortcut, but I'm not going to take that method into the lower Undead Burg. There's a shortcut I was going to show you guys. It makes it to where you can actually go to the Capra before you even make it to the first bonfire in the Burg if you chose to do so. I think that'd probably be pretty suicidal if you didn't have any good gear yet, but the point being, it is possible. So I was hoping this guy was going to drop the greatsword. I'm not a big fan of it, but the R2 attack, two-handed, is pretty funny. It actually sends enemies flying in the air. So I like to play around with it when I'm going to kill an NPC who hasn't gone aggro on me yet. It's always nice to get the first hit off and sling them around a little bit. But at least I got the shield out of the deal. So at this point I have the halberd, 2 Black Knight swords, and a Black Knight shield. I still have, I think, 1 more Black Knight that I can get in this playthrough. There's the Great Axe Black Knight in the catacombs. There's actually another halberd Black Knight too. He was in Tomb of Giants, and I was actually in his area when I ran and got that last piece, the last soul. But he's tougher than the other Black Knights. They're not all built the same. The ones in the higher level areas are definitely higher level knights. So I didn't really want to mess with him. I possibly could have beat him, but I didn't want to risk it. And since I already have the halberd, there's really no reason for me to go worry about killing him right now. You'll notice I'm almost dead here due to the poison. You're probably wondering why he didn't heal. I'm really stingy with my Estus flasks. I usually don't waste a bunch of humanity kindling the bonfires. So when I have 10, and I know the bonfires I'm resting at won't give me any more than the 5, I try to save as much as possible. I have a shit ton of humanity right now, and you might be thinking I'm wasting it, but the good thing about humanity is soft humanity actually gives you benefits. Raises your defenses, your resistances, and actually I think that's all it does. Oh, it does raise your curse too, but still, so it's not really being wasted. You notice I got the dragon to show up. If you don't trigger him by running in that spot, he'll never show up. You can go through the entire game killing all the bosses and actually leave the dragon from showing up. You also, if you paid attention, that fog wall was still up. Apparently, I haven't done it before, but you can do some pretty funny Gravelord invasions if you drop the Gravelord sign in the right spot, making invaders kind of get corralled into only being able to invade at a certain area because they can't get past the fog. It blocks them in. So I haven't done it before, but I've seen a video about it. It was pretty cool looking. It kind of sets up a little arena where you're up on a ledge where they can't reach you, basically. So you can sling poop at them, fire at them with arrows, and they can never actually get to you. But anyway, you're seeing me tick on the dragon here. You can pull him down early if you fire off an arrow or some sort of thrown object at him. I have neither of those, so I'm just going to patiently wait for him to fly down. Just watch the timing. As soon as you hear him roar, you just run up to his leg and start swinging away. If you go too far, if you go to his tail first, he'll often fly away faster. But if you take a few swings at his feet, then go get his tail a little bit afterwards, you can pretty much finish him off without him flying away. It does require, of course, that you do enough damage. The halberd was enough to do it in 5 hits. And I'm sure if you have some sort of lightning or fire weapon, you can probably pull it off too. But anyway, dragon's down. That was rather quick. I actually didn't expect it to be so easy. Even if I stand at his feet, sometimes he does want to fly away from me. When that happens, the best thing to do is just try to run back and go down underneath the bridge again, let him reset, and then redo it the second time, and hopefully you'll finish him off. All you Solaire lovers probably weren't happy to see that, but since I'm not going to use Solaire during the playthrough, he had to go. Like I said, I'm using the basement key, but I'm not going to go into Lower Undead Burg just yet. I just want to open up this shortcut. I'll probably never use it again, but for the sake of any newer players watching, I figured I'd be thorough. So when watching this video after playing through the game and I'm editing this thing, I'm realizing that my play is a little bit sloppier than usual. For any of you guys that have seen my other low-level playthroughs, you know that I'm really big on dodging and just not getting hit in general. But I find myself playing a little bit sloppier when I have access to really good gear. I think it's just because you know you can get hit, you know you can take the damage, so you're not so worried about it. But in a sense, I mean, it kind of promotes sloppier play. I really like to kind of convince just about everybody who wants to get better at the game, especially, to try to do at least one low-level run with some sort of limitation. You can pretty much just go through this game with that really heavy armor, the biggest shields, and the most powerful weapon, and you can kind of just tank your way through it. But the thing is, it doesn't really teach you a lot of the mechanics. You learn the most about this game when you go through with a lot of restrictions on yourself, so that you're forced to learn how to dodge, how to block everything, how to parry very, very carefully. So anybody who's gone through this game and done it at high levels, I would suggest at least once going through at low levels. I mean, you'd be amazed at how much it improves your gameplay. So, I got to pick up the bottomless box and the repair box. You'll notice that when before I killed Andre, I picked up the armor smith and the weaponsmith box, but I didn't have enough souls on me at the time to be able to upgrade my weapon and pick up the final piece. So I went ahead and did it now. That was the reason I didn't buy it, because I knew this guy sold it as well, so that I would still get it. And I haven't even repaired anything yet, I don't think. So this is the shortcut I'm getting ready to show you. You just got to get, basically, I mean, you can run up there right after the dragon shows up, run right to the vendor, and then be almost ready to go down into Lower Undead Burg. The reason I took off the Darkwood Green Ring is this little flip I want to do. I never can do it with the ring on. I've tried many times. The timing on it, or the aiming, is very difficult. So with a regular roll, I don't find it very difficult. So I probably made it look a little bit easier than it is. It's not that difficult, but it takes a few times to get it right. Basically, just roll off and land on that ledge, get a running start, and then jump down. You can see that almost killed me. But since fall damage is percentage based, even if you were level 1, that would not kill you. If you were at full health, I should say. So here I am, down here already. You can kill that guy without ever opening the door. I think the same is for any door that you can get to without triggering them. So even these guys aren't doing hardly any damage, and normally these guys are extremely nasty at low levels. This is not a fun area to go through your first time playing the game, but they're pretty simple right now. So one of the benefits of using this shortcut on a new character is if you're playing some sort of sorcerer, you can literally jump right from Firelink into here, and if you can survive and run up and release this guy, you can have access to all this guy's spells really early on. Normally you'd have to get through the parish and the burg, and by then you could access this guy, but this is a way to do it really early. That way you can save up your souls if you want to farm a little bit, run to some of the early areas and grab some of the hard soul items. But you can basically get access to heavy soul arrow. Actually, I think Rickard sells that too. But you can get great soul arrow, which is the one I like to use. It's less damaging than heavy, but it's much faster. But anyway, I'm just gonna clear all this stuff out. There's a twin humanity here. Since I've been using humanity to heal a lot, I just want to get as much as I could. Those guys, again, my mortal enemies. I hate those guys. Thankfully, this stone armor actually has really good fire resistance. So even if they went nuts on me, they wouldn't actually kill me right away. So I'm already pretty much halfway done with this area. It's not very big. There's only about 12 enemies in total. They're all clumped together. There's not much treasure here to get other than the thief armor and I guess the mail breaker if you're interested. There's really not much to think of here. Getting Griggs is the main thing, and also obviously getting to the Capra and to the depths. Take out the last dog. So you're going to notice me do a little tactic here when I fight the Capra. I figured this out during my sorcerer playthrough, and I wanted to give it a shot with this guy. I mean, I knew it would work. I just pretty much wanted to show you guys. That ring of fog that I got comes in very handy here. The reason being, the Capra is considered a boss, obviously, so he will always see through a ring of fog. All bosses can see through any of your hidden body or ring of fog, but normal enemies don't. So even though the Capra runs at me right away, the dogs don't know I'm there. And as you can see, the Capra went down in 2 mighty swings of the halberd. If I would have went in there with a red tear stone, he would have died in the first swing. I didn't think about it at the time, but it would have been fun to do that. But he's the bane of new players everywhere. Even I struggled with the damn thing. I think it took me 4 or 5 tries to get it. My first time through the game, I hadn't played Demon Souls yet, so I hadn't figured out all the mechanics. I really wasn't keen on dodging yet, so I was trying to block everything. And unless you have a really good shield, it's hard to block Capra's attacks. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and open up the shortcut. I'm going to stop at this merchant real quick, buy some homeward bones. As you guys obviously know by watching me, I use a lot of them. They're extremely handy. Especially when I'm doing a playthrough video, I try to make it as efficient as I can. I don't like doing a lot of extra stuff and lollygagging around. So by being able to utilize homeward bones and not using a lot of bonfires, it makes it easier to get around without having to run everywhere. So I do have the Ring of Fog on still, and that's purposeful. The beginning of the depths is really enemy heavy. They're all clumped together in a close area. So by staying in the Ring of Fog, you don't get them all aggroed on you all at the same time. It makes it a little bit easier. This guy can handle it anyway. He's high enough level and he has good enough gear. But if you were to come down here at low levels or with less than stellar gear, you could die pretty easily if you're not careful. Plus there's another little shortcut I want to show you. Again, those that have seen me do the sorcerer playthrough know what I'm talking about. That's a little shortcut I found. It's not just a shortcut, it's also a little technique. I mentioned it in my sorcerer playthrough, but now that I actually have a good weapon to do it, I'll show you what you can do. Basically, it's just running off this ledge and plunging attack this guy in one hit. It doesn't save you all that much time, but it does let you bypass a lot of the enemies if you don't want to deal with them. Picking up the large ember, even though Andre's dead. Again, I'm just showing that it's possible to get. So there's another thing I wanted to show you guys here, but it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. You know that there's a second butcher that usually comes out after you save Laurentius. The thing is, if you can get to him before you aggro him, you notice when you look up, you can actually see him. There's this little ledge just sets above the doorway, specifically meant for him. I caught it one time going through. I just happened to look up and saw him. If you pause up here, you can probably see him falling from it. I was hoping that coming around with a Ring of Fog, he wouldn't have dropped yet, but unfortunately he already had. But if you look up carefully on the left above the door, you just see a ledge. He just stands there. So if you can manage to get to the point where I was at without aggroing him, you can actually take him out with a ranged weapon or a spell. I just didn't get a chance to show you. So I am going to release Laurentius. I do want to get a Pyro Glove, both to show you that you can get one even if you're not a Pyromancer. In fact, you can get 2. But even though this is going to be melee only, I pretty much meant it as offensive magic. There is another use that I have for the glove that I'll show you in a little bit later. And also I wanted to get it for power within. So before I go all the way down through the depths in Blighttown, I wanted to come out and actually get the glove from him and buy a couple spells. So I had already opened up a shortcut, so now I'm just going to run down there real quick, get the glove from him, and then head back. So the other pyro glove you can get, I'm actually not going to show it because the only way to get it is to get it from the egg guy. I can't remember his name. Inigi or something like that. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Anyway, if you have 12 intelligence and you don't have the glove equipped, he will give you another one. I don't want to waste my souls raising intelligence to 12 just to get a second one. But it is possible to get two, even if you didn't start out as a pyromancer. That way you can have one for using power within on an unupgraded glove, which is very important. If you didn't know already, upgraded glove actually upgrades the damage that the power within does to you, but it doesn't actually increase the damage you do, so it's kind of a bad thing to upgrade it. I'm going to pick up Iron Flesh and Flash Sweat. I'll probably never use Iron Flesh because I hate walking around slow, but I just grabbed it because I had some extra souls laying around. Flash Sweat will definitely be usable here in the next couple videos you'll see. So of course, like all other NPCs, Laurentius had to die. So I'm going to head back, go back into the depths and work my way down. I'm going to show you a little bit more in the depths than I usually do. There's not really much to get in the depths. Going down to the bottom doesn't really net you much. There is a Ring of Evil Eye down there. There are some hard soul items laying around. But otherwise, there's really not much in the depths that's important to get. So we're going to fast forward the tunnel and all the way back down to where I was. Watching this video as I'm editing it, I realized that I probably should have stopped at the vendor and picked up some moss. Usually when I get down to Blighttown area, I already have more moss on me from killing enough of the ints. But since I'm not really farming anything, I didn't have very much of it. So in retrospect, I probably should have bought a stack of, especially the blooming ones for the toxic. If you go down to Blighttown for long enough, you're eventually going to get shot at by those stupid blow dart guys. As you'll see here, probably on the next video, I wasn't quite prepared. And you waste a lot of Estus or humanity to stay alive if you're trying to make it to the bonfire. Anyway, took out the big rat. He's really simple. I mean, even with the weaker weapons, you can almost kill him in the first drop. So this is the second little shortcut. Usually when I'm in the depths, this is about as far as I go. I will run directly from sliding down right to the gaping dragon. But I decided that I wanted to bring Kirk out and kill him. And also, I was going to drop down to the bottom and make my way up real quick, just to show anybody who doesn't know the depths very well. To be honest, I don't do the depths enough to remember exactly the path. But I was able to do pretty good on it. So I'm going to use this bonfire specifically to turn human. I am playing offline, so there's no invasions going to happen. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't turn human. I have made the mistake of staying online while doing playthrough videos and ended up getting invaded a few times. So I definitely didn't make this mistake that time. That hallway right there, there's slimes on the ceiling. They drop down, and they can easily be farmed for green shards and large titanite shards. The drop rate's pretty horrendous, though. I would prefer to do the slugs, because the slugs drop 5 green titanite at once, and the drop rate seems to be more frequent with them. So I would not recommend actually farming the slimes. The only time I would recommend doing it is if you want to farm them down here and then go right back up and make a weapon before you reach Blighttown. Otherwise, it's better to just wait. The other good thing about the depths is there's a ton of rats in a small area. You can really farm humanity down here. If you have a gold serpent ring and at least 10 humanity and get your item discovery up to 410, you can really rake in the humanity in just a few runs. I've got a ton of it already from doing all the pickups and killing NPCs. And you'll see here in a few minutes I actually get more humanity dropping down here, even with only 210 item discovery. This guy, depending on how strong your character is, it's not really necessary to take him out. He can shoot you while you're fighting the gaping dragon, and he can be a pain in the ass, but it's possible to dodge it. When I fought with the sorcerer, I think I did kill him, but when I did my naked playthrough, I didn't bother killing him and actually went around and dodged the soul arrows as I was fighting him, so it is possible. There's a large Satanite shard over here. I don't know how many I've gotten yet, but I probably, at this point, I've gotten a handful of them. So even though I'm not farming, and even though the large shards actually won't be useful for weapons, I could upgrade my elite knight greaves. I guess they're called greaves. I actually haven't upgraded any armor yet, but with all the extra shards I have laying around, and since I can't actually upgrade a weapon with a large shard, yeah, it might make sense. You see, the easiest way to get over a hole like that is just to flip. I think a roll would work too. It's a lot safer than trying to run and jump because the timing is a lot more forgiving. So I'm purposely going to fall down here. And I have to honestly say, I've never been cursed by these guys. And I'm not trying to do that as a brag. I just, for some reason, I've never died to the frogs. Or the Basilisks, I guess they're called. The only time I've ever been cursed in this game is fighting against Seath as a low level with very, very weak curse resistance. But these guys have never gotten me. My curse resistance is pretty high right now. I'm guessing it's probably because of my humanity. I don't know what the stone armor has for curse resistance, if any. But they're not really that hard to dodge. I mean, once you're in the fog, you can dodge out of the way pretty easily. If I was playing online, you would probably see a bunch of cursed little statue guys running around everywhere. That kind of cracks me up when I play online. It's kind of a cool feature that they show you any other characters, players that have died, and there's always statues around. This time, unfortunately, I didn't get to see it. But you can see I'm just killing them, making my way up real quick. Just other than that ring of evil eye and a few other random soul items, there's just really not much down here. The poison shield, not poison shield, the spider shield has really good poison resistance, and it's no accident that you can get it right before Blighttown because it'll come in handy. But other than that, Kirk is pretty much the only reason I'm here. And you see Kirk pop up. And you'll notice with Kirk, I pretty much run up and backstab him before he can even react. All NPC phantom invasions that are like this, you can do the same thing as long as you know where they're going to spawn. You can run up and attack them before they even have a chance to respond. And you'll notice I ran right by that bloodstain. I didn't even notice that until I was watching this while editing. I didn't really lose too much, probably just a chunk of souls. But had I known, I would have picked it up. But anyway, I'm almost finishing up the depths here. Gonna go take on the gaping dragon. Finally got a green shard out of the deal, and another humanity. That's like 3 or 4 just running through without even trying. If you choose not to kill Solaire and Lautrec like I did, and you release Lautrec, you can actually summon them both for this fight. But I find them to be extremely worthless. Against the Gaping Dragon, they don't have any sort of dodging in their AI. They just sit there and try to tank him, and he takes him out really quick. So of all the times to summon Phantoms for help, it seems to be the most worthless time to do it. So I learned on my Sorcerer playthrough something about the Gaping Dragon I never realized before. And that's that his head is his weak spot. If you can manage to hit him in that tiny head of his, you do more damage than usual. And also, like any other boss with a tail, it can be cut off for a weapon. I want to make sure I do that before. This guy actually is never really hard, but he can be a long fight if you have a weak weapon. But coming down here with a halberd, he's already over half dead on the first time he dropped down. So I don't think the first time I actually got the bonus damage, but you'll see here it'll actually work. There it goes. You'll notice I'm not very scared of the guy. I find the best way to kill him is to actually wait till he drops down, stay close to him, and hit him in the head as many times as you can before he takes off running, and then just run around in the back. But anyway, this is pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. Next video, we're going to go into Blighttown and take on Quelaag, and probably down into Great Hollow as well.